Hello, my name is Cameron Davey, Partner Solution Architect at Talend. Today I'm going to talk to you about moving data to Azure with Talend. Together, Talend and Microsoft have a strong story as partners, making each other better. Talend puts more data to work for businesses with the same budget. Talend uses a subscription-based licensing model, meaning you acquire a subscription for the Talend components you will be using and the number of Talend users in your organization. Unlike others in this market, we do not charge extra for the number of connectors you use. We come with well over 900, and there are no charges based on the amount of data that your team is working with. This means that you have a predictable pricing model for your data integration projects with no surprise added charges. If your team of 3 is working on a project that requires 5 connectors and involves 5 petabytes of data, you pay no more than if that same team's next project involves 75 connectors and 20 petabytes of data. Integration plays a key role in the data ecosystem. The data ecosystem grows bigger and more complex every day because of the multiplication of data sources and the growing demand for more data from the business and IT together. As a direct result, integration can easily become the longest mile, the main bottleneck to get to those insights. Gartner actually estimates that through 2020, integration will consume 60% of all the time and cost of building a digital platform. At Talend, we can fundamentally change that dynamic with our data integration software solutions. We have some great joint success stories in many industries across our partnership. When HP split into HPE and HP Inc., they had decades of customer data in multiple siloed data warehouses. The companies agreed that each firm would start with a replica of this vast amount of data. HP Inc. is working with Talend, Microsoft, and a number of our SI partners to apply data governance to this data and clean it up so that it is more valuable and then move it into a cloud data lake on Azure. Another great joint story, not on the slide, is Uniper, an international energy company that is using Talend, Snowflake, and Microsoft. They are combining data from over 100 internal and external sources, including IoT data from power station sensors, into one central data lake. With Talend data integration and data governance, they are able to have a single source of truth based on the data in their new central data lake. They are also now able to meet all of the new GDPR compliance requirements and reduce their overall cost. Talend's unified data platform provides performance, freedom, and collaboration, so everyone can trust data and use it to drive value for their business. They can work across all data infrastructures, on-premise, cloud-only, hybrid, multi-cloud, universal portability. They can build once, run anywhere. It runs natively on all cloud and big data platforms for maximum performance. It's unified and automated, and we provide a unique and predictable pricing model. We provide end-to-end data quality and governance, workflows for data stewardship, data quality processes automated with machine learning. And we have a unified platform for the entire data lifecycle, self-service applications for every level of data user, and the ability to build data workflows to bridge both IT and business users. Talend delivers the force multiplier needed for businesses to put more data to work faster. When you think about cloud acceleration and the richness of the Azure ecosystem, Talend helps with migration of on-premises data, such as SQL Server, and other data sources to the cloud. The overall extensive support for Azure's first-party big data and storage services empower the organization to accelerate data lake development, and for real-time analytics, recommendation engines, and IoT scenarios, there is a great story of integrating real-time and historical data across big data stores. Use Talend to easily create Spark streaming jobs that integrate real-time and historical data into HD Insight, Cosmos DB, ADLS, table storage, blob storage, queue storage. All these services are built for the cloud and are built to scale. Now, let's see a demo. So here we are in the Talend Data Fabric, the studio to design our data integration jobs. Studio is very simple, very easy to use, all drag and drop. On the left-hand side, we have our repository, which is a mix of all of the jobs that we've previously created along with metadata, so you can pre-store or preset your settings to a number of different components that you would connect to, such as you can see in our example here, things like storage connections, database outputs, etc. On the right-hand side, we have our palette, which is the collection of all of the over 900 components that we connect to. And here's just a sampling of the Azure-related components that we have within Talend. In the middle, we have the canvas, which is where you drag and drop these different components to build the job and link them together. Again, no coding required, it's all drag and drop. And then down in the bottom, we have our output screen, if you will, to show us what's happening with the job as we're running it. In this particular example, very simple, we're simply connecting to blob storage. As I open this up, you'll see that we're previously connected. We're going to get a file out of storage, write it out to our table storage within Azure, and then clean up the temporary file that we've created here. As we click on the output table storage, we can see where it's going to connect to. So it's going to use an existing connection that we've established through our Azure Storage Connection object. It's going to write it into a table called contacts, set a key, etc. And now in order to begin, I simply need to run the job. Now to showcase this, I'm going to come over here. I am in my table storage service, if you will. You can see that I don't have any tables stored yet, so I'm going to create one by running this job. So I come back over to Talend and I'm going to go ahead and run the job. So the job has been created. It took merely a few seconds for the job to create. A very simple job. We're only writing 1,000 rows, but now that table has been written, or that information has been written into our output table. So if I come back over to our browser and refresh, we can see that we now have our contacts table written in our table storage output within Azure. The next job that we have here is a little bit more complicated. In this case, we are still connecting to blob storage. We are going to merge two files together. We're going to, within there, catch any rejects out of that file by dumping them out into a rejects file. The ones that we want to keep, we're going to keep in this output map file, and then we're going to write that to storage, blob storage, and then as a result of that, we're going to use bulk execution to write that directly into SQL Data Warehouse. So we're taking advantage of bulk execution and Azure Storage in the same job to be able to write this very quickly and very easily. So we'll go over to our run, and we can go ahead and run that job if we want to run that now. Now, as we take a look at the setup for this bulk execution component, we can see that we're writing this out to my data source, and we're actually going to create this table, drop the table if it exists, and create it from scratch. If we come over to our interface, you can actually see here that within my database, I don't have this table created. So we are actually going to create that from scratch. So let's go back over to Talend, and let's go ahead and run that job. And that job has successfully completed. As we can see, we have exit code 0. That's good. So if we come back over to our interface for the data source, we can go ahead and refresh. We've refreshed it. We come back to our tables. There's our new table that we just created. And we go ahead and we can just select all the top rows out of that to see what we've got. And there's our results. In fact, we can make this even easier. We can just do select star. There we go. And then go ahead and execute that. And you can see down below there, we've got 9,999 rows, which if we come back over to Talend, matches what we had. We had 10,000 rows, we had 9,999 that were going in, and one rejected row. So that matches up perfectly. So we've showcased different levels of storage. We've talked about being able to use blob storage, table storage. We've also written into Azure SQL Data Warehouse, for example. And now we want to shift over and show you a Spark processing job. So we can go over to Spark. This is a fairly simple one. It picks up a file out of storage and then runs some data quality or data manipulation execution on it, if you will. We're going to aggregate it, sort it, mask that data, and then write it back out, but we're going to use Spark processing for that. So if we take a look at our Spark configuration, we're actually using HD Insight for this in this case. So I have a HDI cluster that's ready to go. I have my storage configured as part of this. So this all gets configured in the Spark configuration of the single job that Talend has written for us. So it allows us to grab that information out of that particular file, process it, run these executions on it, if you will, and then create the output of that and keep that in our storage. So you can see here, because in our example, we have the ability to configure all of the storage for HD Insight within the job, we're actually pulling that, we're not pulling that file locally. It's coming right out of our defined storage, which is within the Spark configuration. So go ahead and come over to our Spark configuration and we will run that job. Okay, and now the job has completed. We see exit code 0, which means the job is run. We've got our output log there that shows us everything running, so we can go back over to Azure to see where the file is. So here we are within our Azure Blob storage. I'm in this particular folder within my Azure Blob storage. And if we come back over to our job, we can see where that file existed. It was in C customer XXX test folder. So we can come back over here. We can find that file. There's the file as it existed. You can see that if you look at my date stamp over here on my monitor, we're on November 21st, 11:36 Pacific time. There it is, written just moments ago within that file. So we hope that gave you a good overview of how to use Talend to move data into Azure. Thank you.